Today we're talking about visual effects supervision. Make sure you like and subscribe. Ale,
Hello.
how are you?
Good. Thank you for having me.
All the way from Italy?
Yes.
In our Malta studio. So Ale, you are our visual effects supervisor.
Yeah.
On set, mainly. I think people think as visual effects is just a post-production process. But you're going to tell us that's not the case.
Exactly.
Tell us what a visual effects supervisor does.
In terms of visual effects, so the look and how we do it, how we actually, do in production. But I would split it in three phases, like the pre-production, when you actually need to read the script, break it down, and find the technique that you need to do to achieve what the director wants, because the main goal is to achieve the director vision. The first phase, I think, is the most important, because you're gonna set up the work for the next probably 1 year, 1 year and a half, depending on the project. So I think it's a crucial part. Then there is production, where you need to make sure that what you discussed, it's actually taking place, that you have everything you need, and you're taking all the reference that you need. And then there is the post-production part, that it's what everyone knows, really. You're gonna build your CG element, you're gonna comp them, you're gonna make sure that they are, one, technically correct, and one, creatively,
To the vision.
Yeah, to the vision.
Excellent. So I have here the script of Leonardo, episode 5. And I'm gonna read you a scene.
Okay.
And then we're gonna talk about it a bit. Arrows fly at the model of Leonardo's statue, shattering it. Several of the French soldiers who fire the arrows dismount horses, picking up rocks they throw at what's left of the model. So I remember this scene, but I don't remember it playing out this way. So how do we go from what's in the script to what we ended up seeing?
Yes, you don't remember because it didn't happen like that, actually.
The statue still falls.
Yeah, still falls,
And it's
but
shattered.
obviously in a different way, because the first thing you actually do, obviously, is you read the script. With the director, you understand, one, if it's possible, and this clearly was challenging, because how you can shatter a statue of like 7 meters, I don't remember exactly, but it was around 7-8 meters with arrows. Not possible. So obviously you have to speak with the writers, you have to speak with the showrunner, understand how you can achieve it, and we decided that they're gonna pull it down. So they're gonna throw ropes at it and they're gonna pull it down. So the next step would be, how do we actually achieve this? Do we build a statue that is 8 meters, but then how do we pull it down? Because if it's real, and you pull it down,
It's gonna hurt someone.
Yeah, there is safety issue, there is obviously money issue, because building a real statue of clay, wood and clay, it's a challenge. So you start with, you start your discussion with the art department to understand, what they can build and what you can do in VFX. Because you could actually, do everything in visual effects. They don't have anything, and right. you put it afterwards. But the problem is, one, budget, because then you're gonna end up with a lot of shots. If you play not just this scene, but several scenes in that environment, you're gonna have like a lot of VFX shots to deal with. And second, if they actually interact with the statue, in this case, not this scene, but another scene, they're actually building it. So they're putting clay on it. It's very difficult if you don't have anything to, touch and to play with. So we decided that we're gonna build a part of it. And then you start the discussion of how tall we build. And for sure, we need to build the part that they're touching. One important discussion that you need to have with both producers, director and art department is, budget problems. Because if you build only 2 meters, you're still gonna have to extend it in CG, and it's still gonna have a weight on your budget.
Yes.
It's a matter of, trading. We build a little bit more, maybe 3-4 meters. So all your, mid shots, close-up and mid shots are gonna be all real. And then you are only gonna extend the statue when it's wider shot.
Right. So you go from having to put the statue in CG in 50 shots,
Exactly.
right, which is the whole scene taking place, to down to a few shots.
Exactly.
Right.
You try to contain. Obviously, if you have a limited budget, it's never the case. You can do whatever you want, but we need to be clever about these decisions. Building the statue that is 4 meters is gonna have an impact on the art department budget because it's a really complex structure. So we decided to have like a base for the statue.
Platform.
Yeah, a platform. So we actually, gain a meter of a really simple structure, but it gives you enough height that
Cool.
you don't have to build 4 meters of a statue. Maybe you build 2.5 meters, and then you give enough to frame it for the mid shot and the close-up and not have to do any VFX.
Excellent. So when it comes then to the shooting,
Yeah.
what were you considering?
So we scan the statue, then we make sure that all the measures are exact to the biggest statue. Another thing we did on set also is to help the actor to visualize the statue, because now we constructed, 4 meters, but the statue is like double. So we actually need to give, like, for example, a high line for the actor when they are looking at the full statue.
Because otherwise you end up with the situation where the statue is up there and they're looking down here.
Exactly. So we actually constructed some metal pipes with tracking markers for us, but also markers for them to look at the face, for example. So we could, one, give a help to the actors, but also in the actual, scene that we were discussing, we actually attached ropes. So the actors that were pulling the statue could have a real rope to
pull.
To pull, exactly. And that then was obviously replaced by a CG rope, but the actor, their tension is real. Because otherwise, even for them, it's very difficult to, fake it.
So how come the rope was also replaced? That's what I...
Because the rope was attached to this metal pipe.
Right.
But the statue, it's much larger.
Sure. But the entire rope then you replaced, even the one where they're holding?
Yes, the entire
the
rope.
rope.
Because then, the rope, you got the tension, but then when the statue starts to fall...
You needed to follow.
You need to follow.
Seen the scene so many times, the ropes I've never thought were fake, so... Neither the statue, to be fair, but the statue you start to imagine that it's a bit too big, to actually film that.
From this shot that you can see, we transitioned to actually a fully CG shot, because all the pieces that are falling, we couldn't shoot it for obviously safety reason. You have a lot of people interacting, so then you transition to a full CG shot, and then you have the freedom to place the debris where you want. In fact, one of the last shots is the
head.
Actual head of the horse falling near camera. Almost impossible to achieve, practical.
Exactly.
Another thing that is crucial on set is to collect all the data regarding the cameras, because being a CG, in this case CG statue, but can be an environment, can be any other CG asset, you need to replicate the camera that you have on set in a virtual environment. So it's important that you take as much as reference as possible in terms of height, angle, tilt, lens. And because this will help the artist to track the shot and to also, place the actual statue in the environment.
Right. So you've shot it?
Yes.
It comes to Malta?
Yes.
What's the process once it gets here?
So the process actually starts even before the footage gets to us, because we start to prepare the asset. And that takes, could take a week, could take a few months. From the scan that we did on set, we start to model it in our software. In this case, I think it was ZBrush and Maya. We start to have the model with the real dimension. We start to do the look depth, what's called the look depth. So we apply the materials, we see how they interact with the light, and we make sure that we will have reference on set. So we start to compare them and make sure that they are basically impossible to distinguish.
Because the model that we're adding in CG has to be lit under the same conditions that
Exactly.
were on the day when you were
And
filming.
the material has to interact with the light in the same
same
way because you are actually blending the two together.
Blending the part that was built with the fake part.
Yes. So it's very important that this part is done. So after we build the asset, we get the shot into the machine of the artist. First pass is to track the shot, so to actually create a camera that replicates the movement that we had on set.
Okay.
This camera gets imported into the 3D software. They will then put the ropes that I was telling you before and simulate the actual physics of the ropes.
Right.
When everything is done in 3D software, it gets rendered and then it goes to comp. The compositor will assemble the model to the original footage. They would make, the color correction, and they will add, additional, for example, dust, additional elements that they feel will make the shot better. And at the end, it will be rendered and sent to client.
Excellent. Ale, what an incredible journey, because I don't think a lot of people, even in the film industry, understand that visual effects has become the norm.
Yeah.
And it's not just post-production.
No.
Definitely not fix it in post attitude.
No, I think that attitude is what really we need to change in, production that are not used to visual effects, because the role of a VFX supervisor in pre-production is equally, if not more important, because let's take this for example. If I wasn't in pre-production, they wouldn't have built the little statue to scan. They wouldn't have made the decision of the height of the statue, so we would have probably ended up with a lot more shots. And then it's your fault, even though it's not, because you didn't actually take part in the pre-production. So I think it's very important, yeah.
I think the viewers will appreciate more the scene that takes place and how much work goes into it. And this would have touched so many different artists from the 3D
This
to
is the
2D.
work of a lot of people, not just me, of course.
Yeah, incredible.
Thank you.
You have a flight to catch back to
Yes,
Italy?
I have.
So we'll leave it there. Make sure you like and subscribe.
Ciao.